All right, greetings, superb people. This is Lanita Superb, and I am coming to you on day 8 of the Superb Spring Cleanse event, and it is the final day. So, yes, I have accomplished going through this process, and if you have been following, you may have noted that I mentioned at some point, I believe, that one of my challenges for myself was actually taking action and sharing this information with the superb people. So I made a commitment and I told myself that I needed to do this, and I was able to go through the motions and get to this very day. Also, you may have noticed that yesterday was a brief session, and when I started the spring cleanse event, I completely was not thinking about the fact that I would be at the farmers market on Saturday. So I had to improvise, and what I did was a short video while I was at the market, and then I decided when I got home it would be best to just put intro basics 7, 8, and 9 all together because they kind of do go well with the explanation. So that's what happened there. So I didn't completely just space out and forget to finish yesterday. I actually, like I said, because I had not really thought about the fact that I would be fasting. It was day 6 yesterday. Today is day 7, so I'm going on a week of my water fast, or fasting, water fasting, however you want to say it. But basically, what I'm saying is that when I originally put the plan together, I completely was not even thinking about how the fasting would be affecting my energy. And so that's what happened with yesterday. And the market did take quite a bit out of me. And when I came home and put things away and got settled, I ended up taking a nap, which is what you're supposed to do while you're fasting, get a lot of rest. So that was actually quite inspiring or uplifting because I was then able to wake up and have a bit more energy than I would have had I attempted to go through the process and do the live stream that I was saying that I was going to do. But like I said, I decided to leave that for this day, and I am improvising again because instead of keeping notes in my journal, which I do keep notes in my journal, I decided to work with one of my other devices and just give you the information for the 7, 8, and 9 intro basic to the Superb Lifestyle Transition course. So in the intro, I just have to hold up. I was holding up my book, and this is the Now notebook, and this is actually the soft, the paperback, as you can see. And so this is also available to you from the website. If you go to the shop page, you can get this, and it's through blurb.com. And I actually created this entire book, and they allow you to make your own books. And like I said, it's basically a notebook, but every few pages, I have some inspirational things. Like there's a couple of pictures of things and food that I did when I first started my transition. So this is the book that you will be getting with the Superb Lifestyle Transition course. And this is what you will initially be utilizing to keep your records with, right? When you start keeping your records. So like I said, with the purchase of the Now notebook, look at the back, it's pretty cool. With the purchase of the Now notebook, you will actually get the 16-week course, and thus moving forward with your own superb lifestyle transition. So with that, I'm going to move into the number 7 intro basic, which is design and build your foundation to be solid and sound. Yes, solid and sound. And of course, this goes along with your plan, because remember back at number 1 and number 2 intro basic, you were seeking out to find the proper sources to get your knowledge from, and then you were going to be keeping your records. So with that process of keeping your records from these reliable sources, you then will come to a point where you are making a plan for yourself to move forward with the transition, right? So what number 7 is saying is that you will need to design your plan in a fashion so that it's solid and sound, so that you don't have to, let's say, go back later, or, not saying that there's not going to be other challenges or obstacles in the way on your path, but the idea is to get out all of the kinks ahead of time before you actually implement your full plan. So, and basically that comes with doing a trial run. So, for instance, with the SupHerbLendz, people, maybe not people, but the idea with the SupHerbLendz was that I had initially gone out doing cold calling and literally going into stores and just talking to people on the streets about the herbs, even before I knew that I was going to be continuing and making a business out of it, so to speak. And what I learned was that I eventually was going to need a different approach. So what I did was I gave it a trial run, and by keeping my notes over that first year, this was back in 2015, I was able to analyze what kind of responses I got from people, whether they were aware of what a cleanse was or what detoxing was, and if they didn't, how did they react when I went through the process of explaining the purpose, of doing a cleanse or a detox, or even just using the herbs in general. Most people, you don't even really have to necessarily do a cleanse or go through that whole process of fasting. My initial idea with the SupHerbLendz is for people whom have never done any sort of cleansing or fasting or anything, and then you're going to integrate the SupHerbLendz into your diet, and that way at the same time you will also be learning about the herbs and experiencing how they affect your body when you ingest them. So I don't mean like just the basic, like basil and oregano that people put on their food every day, or black pepper. Granted, those are herbs and things that I can utilize with the SupHerbLendz, but because those things are more commercially connected, the connection of them being medicinal is kind of null and void. So to get a deeper understanding, to make sure you comprehend what is really going on with the purpose of utilizing the herbs and why you're actually adding them to your diet. That was what I had to present to people, and then I had to figure out, like I said, how to explain it in a way where it actually made sense to those whom have never heard of cleansing or thought about cleansing or even cared about detoxing. So that was my trial run. And it turned out, because I did actually have people whom were interested, and people actually called me to get information about that, that was when I knew that I could go ahead, move forward with this, and make it a better product. So so added with that, like I said, was I was keeping records. So being able to keep records with the notebook allowed me to get out the kinks and to fine tune it so that it would become a solid, sound foundation for the SupHerbLendz. Now, I did also at some time, after about a year or so, I did do another analysis of my progress. And what I found out was that I needed to upgrade my packaging. So at some point, I did upgrade my packaging. And some people may have purchased some herbs from me back when I first started. And it's really funny and kind of cute because I actually had, little Ziploc baggies or little baggies, plastic baggies, the real tiny ones about this big. And what I would do is I would have repurposed spice jars and containers, and that's how I traveled with the herbs. And when someone was interested in purchasing, I had my scoop, which was my measuring scoop, and then I would measure out and scoop into the bag how much they needed or how much I felt they needed or whatever the exchange amount was. That's how I did that. So I already had little papers written up about explaining how to utilize the herb and what to do with it. And then I would actually sit and have a conversation, almost like a consultation, with each being whom I was working with. And that was the full extent of what I had done. So now it has completely changed. I'm actually offering the information on the website so that you can go and read through the blogs. And then, of course, like for instance, with the SupHerbogami, you actually get the instructions inside of the origami with the tea, and then the contact information and the ingredients are attached to the outer portion of the packaging. So I've gone, I think, a long way. And then also, too, I'm going to be upgrading the spice jar from plastic to glass. And I initially wanted to use glass, but because I was still in the starter phase, I didn't want to have such a large expense, with getting the glass, even though I knew the glass would be better. But I wanted to make sure that it was going to be an item that people actually wanted. So now that I have sold off quite a few of the plastic spice jars, the original SupHerbLendz packaging, I'm now going to upgrade that to glass, and then of course continue with the herbal tea inside of the unbleached tea bags with the SupHerbogami. So that's pretty much it for number 7, which is design and build your foundation to be solid and sound. And then that obviously takes us to number 8, intro basic, which is quite easy to remember. It's called mastery. Now, mastery, people say, oh, you're not a master. Well, no, I don't necessarily mean like a master of, the universe. I mean, like I've mastered the process, and I have a really good, um, not even just good, even more than good, but I've experienced enough with what I'm doing with the herbs. Like I said, it's been since 2015, and to be able to keep my records and follow through and then go back and analyze what information and feedback I've gotten from people whom have purchased the herbs or whom have not purchased the herbs. There's been a lot of prospective superb people, and then they don't actually follow through because number one, they don't want to keep their records. They tend to not keep their records in a notebook, and that doesn't get anybody anywhere because, like I said, the main point of the course is you have to have this information about yourself in order to go back so that you can check out what's going on with it. So, or what's going on with you. So that's the main thing there. And so basically with the mastery is that when you have success, it's time for you to do it again. And that's what I did. Each year I would go through my notes and analyze and see what I can do better to make the product better and offer more value to the superb people so that it's actually worth their interest or worth their effort to work with me or to even get the herbs for me. or just, just why would you care to utilize SupHerbLendz? So that's what I did every year. And each year I've gotten a better response. I've gotten better at my own, I guess, my own, what do you call it, delivery of presenting what SupHerbLendz are, the herbal teas and spice blends. And now I'm at the point where I'm incorporating more things. I have plants and seeds as well. And then, of course, with the gardening, I will be incorporating also some organic vegetables, specifically green leafies, and like kale and lettuce that I will be growing myself, without chemicals and pesticides and herbicides, and using all natural methods to grow the vegetables and the herbs. So each year I have been progressing, and it's been working out really well. And ultimately, I do have an end goal, that's about 7 years down the line. And that may seem far away, but considering that I actually started this transition 7 years ago and being aware of where I was, as far as my entire environment and situation and my lifestyle at that time, I would say this is quite a dramatic transition. And yes, it is going to happen. I will reach that goal. And what is that goal? Well, some people may have come across my Facebook account. And on my Facebook account, I have the Gathering Park as one of my pages. Actually, it's the only page that I have. And initially, I thought of the Gathering Park back in 2019, or I'm sorry, yeah, 2019. Yes, we are in 2019. That's what you thought of. In 1999, and this was when I was still living back in Pleasantville, in Jersey, and it was in between that transition of when I was done with college and before I had moved to Las Vegas. So I was in the living room and doing what I normally would do is be dancing to my trance music or to Yanni or whatever. And of course the idea came to me is that, wonder if you can develop a community, that that wants to live like this out in nature, just listening to the music and dancing and being creative and not being hindered by judgment. So the idea was the Gathering Park. And I'm still in that process of developing the Gathering Park. It's just obviously in between the transition of where I am now to getting to um, the full scale of the Gathering Park. And it back then I was not aware that it was going to be such a journey because, like I said, when I moved to Las Vegas, I initially was interested in it being more of a hotel casino resort. And then after working in a casino, I decided that wasn't my path. So I decided to still keep the community part there, and then build more so a natural community where the people are the ones actually running the community. So that is what the Gathering Park will be, and that is what the Gathering Park is, and that is what I'm working myself up to. So in case you wanted to know where this was going, that's where it's going. Okay, and like I said, this goes back to mastery. If you have success, do it again, right? It makes a lot of sense. And basically, what it's actually showing you is that you've gained wisdom about, maybe a bigger cause, like I just explained. That's one of the other points for mastery. Number 8, the intro basic, is that you do everything one step at a time, and then eventually you'll get to a point where you're on to bigger causes. And so that is the process of mastery, is just continue to do a little bit at a time. When you have success, you move on to the next thing, and then you start over again, and then you're always building upon your solid, sound foundation, your plan. So yes, that's where we go with that. And With that, I'm going to go on to number 9, intro basic, which is not always what people think they need to do or want to do, but ultimately, when you get to a level of mastery with yourself and what you're doing, you will eventually kind of just fall into place with this. So, intro basic number 9 is sharing, and as a master, you have become a teacher from within self. So, again, this is not necessarily about outside of you, this is all about within yourself. So, by sharing, you're not only teaching yourself, even though you technically have mastered something, but you will continue to learn more about yourself and thus being able to master more of yourself. And in that process, you will also be sharing with others that process of how they can do the same to get the wisdom from within themselves also. So, as I mentioned, um, you do plan at some point you will plan to share your experience because that's just what happens when you become successful or you keep having success for something. You want to tell people about it, or even not that you want to, you just, people just come to you, they're drawn to you because they see that you've had a lot of success with something. So now you're sharing this experience, and eventually, I'm assuming, or not even assuming, but for me, it becomes part of your plan to incorporate that with with what you're doing, your lifestyle. So one of the things I've mentioned before, and it's also on the website under the intro basic number 9, is when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And also the same works for when the teacher is ready, the student will appear. However, I've added on to that that both parties, the student and the teacher, must both mutually accept that role of being the student and the teacher, and then also accept that your teacher is going to be teaching you and that your student is going to be learning from you, and you were both responsible for communicating and working with each other. So unless that whole transaction happens, it's not going to work. And I got that obviously from the experiences I've had. I've come across a lot of people in the past years, that I thought would be a good mentor or good teachers for me. And ultimately, what it came down to was that they didn't necessarily want to be a teacher, they just wanted to be a dictator. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you're a teacher, you have to be the teacher. A teacher's not a dictator. A dictator is a dictator. It's either my way or the highway. If you're teaching a student, the teacher has to be capable of figuring out what lessons or things to teach this student that are unique to this student and on their level, so that they can learn what it is that they need to learn. That's why they came to you, because they felt that you were the capable teacher of assisting or aiding them with their transition or their learning process. So the same thing with the student. If the student is taking direction from the teacher or guidance from the teacher, and at some point there's some resistance, well, now you've messed up your connection with this teacher, because the teacher is ultimately taking on the role of sharing with you knowledge and information that is going to aid you with your own progress. And if you miss that, then, if you're not willing to learn something new from this teacher, then that's when it comes to a halt. As they say, you bump heads, that type of thing. So, like I said, the student is ready, the teacher will appear, and when the teacher is ready, the student will appear. But they both have to mutually agree to take on that role as either the student or the teacher, and work forward to get through this process and to aid each other with the growth. because the teacher is going to grow as well as the student. It's not just the student growing. You're both working together, and that's how a team works. And of course, that is the ultimate task of the full intro basics of the SupHerb Lifestyle Transition course. When you put all the intro basics together, you will have a different perspective of why a superb lifestyle transition will aid your life, will benefit you, and will ultimately guide you to optimum health. Because that is the purpose of the transition, is that you want better health. You may not want optimum health just yet, but it's going to guide you to better health at the beginning. And then after your experiences and learning and gathering information and knowledge, along with your keeping records, following a plan, sticking to that plan, and then learning things along the way about yourself. This is about you. This is about you and your journey. Sure, we're all helping each other because nobody does anything by themselves, but ultimately you need to focus on your focus, and that is you. So in the end, you put it all together and you will see how all of this works towards your progress and the ultimate goal of optimum health. And that's pretty much it with the 9 intro basics. I'm going to actually scroll up here and just mention all 9 of them in case someone missed the first 8. So intro basic number 1 is, who do you model yourself after, and where do you get your knowledge and information from? Number 2 is, keep detailed records of your experiences, such as writing in the journal, like the Now notebook. Yes, yes. And then number 3, allow everything to be your teacher and learn to be better at learning by observing yourself. So that's a big one there that a lot of people may skip over. And then intro basic number 4 is why you are planning to be what you are wanting to become. And that just digs deeper into yourself to make sure you're not being guided by some outside dictator with your own wants and needs and what you want to do with your lifestyle. Then we have number 5, as I just mentioned, focus on your focus, which adds into, this is about you. Number 6, study and know the way your brain works. And that also ties in with communication with universal laws, because we as human beings, yes, we are very powerful, but we are also governed by the universal laws, and being aware of that will make this life experience a lot easier for you. Number 7, as I just mentioned, design and build your foundation to be sound and solid. And as I said, the way you do that is by keeping your records and then going back to analyze and confirm and do a trial run to make sure that's what it is that needs to be done for you. Number 8, of course, is mastery. So, of course, once you have success with all that, you can go back over it and do it again. And then number 9 will be sharing that information with others as a teacher, and because that's what happens eventually. If it were not for all of these successful mentors and teachers and those, maybe even gurus, those who were ahead of us, who have already accomplished or achieved these tasks or goals, as we call them, whatever you want, desires, whatever you want to call it, if they were not there for us to learn from, a lot of us would just be lost at sea. So being that you obviously had some assistance with your lifestyle and your success, it always works out best to go back at some point when you're ready, only when you're ready. It's not a forceful thing, to go back and also share your experience so that there may be people whom are seeking your knowledge or your wisdom. And yeah, so they will follow along, and at some point you will be able to just let them go on their own, and then they will continue with their own lifestyle and do their full transition when they are ready to, with with the wisdom that you have aided them with in that whole process. So that's pretty much it for the 9 intro basics for the SupHerb Lifestyle Transition course. I believe that actually fills in the gaps and possibly answers quite a few questions that people may be having about what the SupHerb Lifestyle Transition course is. And as I said, with the purchase of the Now notebook, you actually get the full length 16-week course, and that will come to you via videos and emails. And of course, as I mentioned, the one stipulation is after you get the notebook, you must be able to prove that you've made it through a week of keeping your notes in the journal. Otherwise, it's obsolete. So that is the big part with the course. And because if you can't even commit to 7 days to just writing in the journal, how are you going to make it through 16 weeks? You know, and once again, I said, this is about you. This is about you. So the idea is for you to get yourself together so that you can do this transition, which is going to lead you to better health. Now, the Now notebook is called Now so that you can get it done now. Yeah, exactly. And that's the whole point. So when you order the book, it'll arrive, and then once you get the book, you will probably already have the information coming from me about what to do for the first week. And then I will give you even more in-depth details about keeping your notes and what you need to do from there. But the process is that you first need to purchase the notebook so that you can move forward with the course. And also, you can purchase the SupHerb basket, which includes the course and the notebook, plus other products and items that you can utilize if you're a little bit more serious about starting your cleansing and getting your body prepped to do a full spring cleanse event, or even just a cleanse event. It doesn't have to be in spring, but it's preferably more in tune with the cosmos to do it at the time when the season is changing from winter to spring, and then also fall going into winter. So that is going to be pretty much it for the 9 intro basics. And again, this is day number 8 of the SupHerb Spring Cleanse event. And I feel that I have expressed quite a bit of information. I didn't really take a sip of water because I was so excited with getting you the information. So maybe I'll do that. And just to give you an update, like I said, this is day 7 of my water fasting, and I will be continuing till next Monday, April 8th. I plan to take a trip to to an organic grocer and pick up some items there the same day, so that way all of my food is fresh as possible. And I will still keep information or do a quick live video each day so that you can follow along with the progress. And tomorrow we have the interview with Dr. Jennifer Daniels, and she is the host of Healing with Dr. Daniels. She was actually a medical doctor, and she will be sharing with us her experience with how she learned about the fraudulent medical system, and also giving us some tips on what we can do to cleanse the body and to be able to get out of that situation with finding the proper doctor that may be able to aid you if that is the route you want to go. So tune in tomorrow. That's going to be 11 a.m. Mountain Time. And I will be utilizing Streamlabs and also YouTube. So if you want to go to streamlabs.com/Lanita SupHerb, that's streamlabs.com/LANEEDASupHerb. and that's going to be my link there. And then for those of you who are not Streamlabs oriented, you can just click on to the YouTube Lanita SupHerb channel, and I will be utilizing the Streamlabs platform through YouTube, and you can also join in with the live chat. And possibly we'll be asking Dr. Daniels a few questions from the audience. We only have a short time together, so that's part of the process. I just wanted to get my first interview down, and it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. And I will actually start televising or doing the live stream at 10:30 a.m. So if you want to join me at 10:30, just before Dr. Daniels comes on, that would be greatly appreciated. And otherwise, I guess I'll see you on the next video. And like I said, stay tuned, and you can also subscribe to the Lanita SupHerb channel. And then there'll be information. I have merch available on streamlabs.com /Lanita SupHerb. So click on the Lanita SupHerb, streamlabs.com's Lanita SupHerb link below, and you can purchase merch. I have a Lanita SupHerb mug. There's a pillow, yoga pants, a t-shirt, and a few other items, which is available through Streamlabs. And it's only for a limited time because I'm just starting out new, and I feel that's a good way for me to get the word out for people to check out the items. So hopefully that's something you will utilize and be able to support me with my cause. As I said, I am in the process of building a community with people whom are obviously interested in transitioning their life to optimum health, and more coming to you about that. Follow along. Again, click and subscribe below. Thank you. I do appreciate you, superb people. This is Lanita SupHerb, and a rose in perfection shines bright.